Good morning. Today we are going to do session 3, module 1, matrix method of structural analysis. I am Dr. Jyoti TK, assistant professor, Government Engineering College, Ramnagar. So today we are going to study about flexibility method and Maxwell's law. So what is this flexibility method or a force method? Forces and displacements that exist in a structure can be related to one another. Force and displacement are interrelated. So it can be interrelated with the help of a flexibility or stiffness coefficients. So the method of analysis to be considered here uses, in case of flexibility method, it uses flexibility influence coefficients. This method is also called as force method, in which the forces in the structure are treated as unknowns. The number of equations involved is equal to degree of static indeterminacy of the structure. That is, equations of equilibrium is 3. So if the structure is statically determinate, if the available reactions is also 3, then the structure is said to be statically determinate. In the force method of analysis, primary unknowns are forces. Hence, this method is also called as what force method. In this method, compatibility equations are written for displacements and rotations. So these displacements and rotations are calculated with the help of force displacement equations. So solving these equations, redundant forces are calculated. Once we know the redundant forces, the remaining reactions are evaluated with the help of equations of equilibrium. So next, Maxwell's law. So what is this Maxwell's law? Maxwell's law is, before that, let us understand what is this flexibility method, how it is, how flexibility coefficients are calculated. Now, in this, let me show with the help of a pencil. So here you can see consider a simply supported beam as shown in the figure. Let us consider 3 points, 1, 2 and 3. So let us consider 3 points designated as 1, 2, 3 along the beam. If we apply a force, here, P, at a point 2, the deflection at point 1 due to this force at P, what is the deflection happening at point 1? Displacement, what is the displacement at 1? So therefore, displacement at 1 is equal to flexibility coefficient 1 2. What is this flexibility coefficient 1 2? That is due to unit force at what is the displacement at coordinate 1? Here 1 stands for displacement at coordinate 1 due to unit force at coordinate 2. If I apply a force of 1 kilonewton at coordinate 2, what is the displacement happening? So F12 here, 1 stands for displacement at coordinate 1 due to unit force at coordinate 2 into that unit force P. Force P. So D1 is equal to F12 into P. Here the term F12 is a flexibility influence coefficient. It is called as what? Flexibility influence coefficient. It is defined as deflection at coordinate 1 due to unit load at coordinate 2. Unit load applied at coordinate 2. So moving on. So instead of a single load at 2, if we apply multiple loads, for example, at coordinate 1, let me apply a load of P1, at coordinate 2, P2, at coordinate 3, P3, at all the 3 points, then the deflection at coordinate 1 can be written as D1 is equal to F11, that is displacement at coordinate 1, displacement at coordinate 1 due to unit force at 1 into force P1. Similarly, flexibility influence coefficient, displacement at coordinate 1 due to unit force at coordinate 2, displacement at coordinate 1 due to unit force at coordinate 3. Like that, you can develop displacement equations for what is the displacement at coordinate 2 due to if we have a unit force at coordinate 1, unit force at coordinate 2 and unit force at coordinate 3, what happens? So similarly, displacement at coordinate 3, what is the contribution of this flexibility influence coefficient into forces? So the above equation, instead of writing it in the form of a simultaneous equation, you can write it in a matrix form. So D1, D2, D3, I can write it as F11, F12, F11 into P1 plus F12 into P2 plus F13 into P3, or else in case of D2 it is F21 into P1 plus F22 into P2 into F23 into, plus F23 into P3. For D3 it is F31 into P1 plus F32 into P2 plus F3 into P3. So instead of writing in a simultaneous form, I am writing it in a matrix form. So in general, the equation can be written as displacement is equal to flexibility coefficient into force P. So here the matrix F that contains the influence coefficient that relates displacement and forces. Right. So hence it is called as what? This is called as a flexibility matrix. So next, what is this Maxwell's law? So here in the previous slide, we know that we can see here. Here you can notice F12 and F21. Here F12, let me instead of writing F12, I can write Fij is equal to Fji. How can I relate these two? F12 is equal to F21. Similarly, F13 is equal to F31. Similarly, F23 is equal to F32. If you calculate F23, no need to calculate F32. If you calculate F13, no need to calculate F31. If you calculate F12, no need to calculate F21. Because they are related to each other. How it is related to each other? They say that Fij is equal to Fji. How it is explained? It is explained with the help of Maxwell's law. So Maxwell's law of reciprocal deformation states that Fij is equal to Fji. So what does it states? So Maxwell theorem of reciprocal deflection. In a truss or a beam, the deflection at any point P due to a load W at any other point Q is equal to the deflection at the point Q due to same load W at the point P. That is, it states that in a beam, if there is a deflection at point P due to load at Q, so if you apply the same load at P, the deflection at Q will be same. That's what that's what this Maxwell's reciprocal law states. So here you can see a beam and consider 2 points P and Q. There is a point P and Q, right? So next. Now, consider a load acting at Q. There is a load W acting at Q. So, due to this load at Q, what is the deflection happening at P? So, what is the deflection happening at P? It is YP. Let me assume that the deflection at P is deflection along the vertical direction. So, I am writing it as Y. It is at point P, hence I am writing YP. Now consider the load W, same load W, instead of acting at Q, if it acts at P. If there is a load W at P. So due to this load at W, what is the deflection happening at Q? Here, the deflection is YQ. The deflection at this point is YQ. Right. So now, this shows that the deflection Yp is equal to Yq. Why the deflection at Yp is equal to Yq? Because the load is same. So I can tell that Yp is equal to Yq. So that's why Fij is equal to Fji. So in flexibility method, we have two methods. One is system approach and one more is element approach. So in system approach, in this approach, the flexibility matrix is developed by determined displacements considering the entire structure. Entire structure is considered. So the columns of the flexibility matrix is formulated one by one. Thus, the flexibility coefficient in the ith column is determined by applying a unit force at coordinate I and computing displacement at all the coordinates. These displacements are themselves the coefficient belonging to the ith column of the flexibility matrix. That is, entire structure is considered, it is not divided into number of elements. Here, the entire structure is solved with the help of the unit force. So the system displacement may be computed using any standard method, for example, conjugate beam method, moment area method, or unit load method based on the principle of virtual work, etc. So these conjugate beam, moment area method and all you have studied already in your fourth semester. So then what is this elemental approach? In this approach, the entire structure, whatever structure is there, that is divided into number of elements. Right. So the member forces are treated as a basic unknowns. In principle, same as a classical method, but based on matrix approach. So step-by-step building up of a force displacement relationship using elements making the structure. So for each element, you are going to find out the flexibility influence coefficient matrix. Then you are going to sum it up and you are going to structure as a whole or any structure. So that should satisfy equilibrium of forces, then displacement compatibility and force displacement relationship. Then only it satisfies, you can find out the redundant forces. So in force method of analysis, first we need to find out the static indeterminacy. First we need to find out whether the structure is statically determinate or indeterminate. If it is indeterminate, then what are the reactions that is making the structure indeterminate? So those reactions you need to remove. So whichever reactions you are going to remove, that you are going to consider it as a redundant forces. So the number of redundant forces will be equal to the degree of static indeterminacy. So if you have if the degree of if the degree of static indeterminacy is 2, so you need to remove 2 reactions. So hence the redundant forces is equal to degree of static indeterminacy. Then the basic determinate structure. After removing the redundant forces, the structure will become statically determinate, right? So then it is called as what? Basic determinate structure, or release structure is obtained by releasing the redundant forces. Then flexibility matrix is developed for the basic determinate with respect to the coordinate in the direction of redundant forces. Then for the basic determinate structure, the displacement in the direction of coordinates are calculated due to the redundant forces and external forces. Then the redundant forces are calculated by force is equal to inverse of flexibility influence coefficient into displacement. So where P is, we all know that P is what? It is a redundant force. F is a flexibility matrix and delta is a displacement in the direction of the coordinates. So after finding the redundant forces, we can easily calculate the membrane forces with the help of compatibility conditions. So this completes session 3. Thank you.